So today we are going to be talking about a structured application, but more specifically where we may place the apex incorrectly. I am Paola of PaolaPonceNails.com, and I help current and aspiring nail stylists become thriving entrepreneurs by mastering all of their gel nail services using premium soft gel only. If this sounds like a niche you'd like to consider, then at the end of this video, do consider subscribing. All right, here I have my base gel and my soft builder gel. I will be structuring the nails with the soft builder gel. In case you're like, what do you mean by structuring? A structured gel manicure is one that has volume to it. It has structured. And just like you would structure any building so that it stays upright and properly balanced, a structured gel manicure is just that. A nail that is properly balanced, it has the correct structure, it has the correct thickness all around. And especially that apex area is nice and center and has the correct thickness, okay? This area where the smile line is preferably where your apex should land, or at minimum, this area here at the smile line, so the area of the free edge and the body of the nail where they connect, that's the area for the placement of the apex. That's where your apex should be, because if this nail or this free edge is going to break, it's going to break at the stress point, and those stress points are at the corners of the smile line. That is your stress point, which means it needs to be reinforced via a structured application. The first mistake we make when applying our apex is applying our gel too thick and simply forgetting to include an apex. So we're going to grab a big dollop of gel, we're going to apply it, right? And you are going to be like, well, the more gel, the merrier. And you're totally going to omit placing an apex on this nail because you're like, well, it's thick, I have enough product under, surely this nail cannot break. And so you leave thick area here and a thick area there. Sometimes, somehow, some way, you just kind of manage to leave some interesting gap in the center there in that apex area. So what do I recommend when doing a structured application or an overlay that has volume to it for strength? Well, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and remove this clear gel for the most part. And now I'm going to show you what you should do instead. So let's imagine that this nail, it's been prepped, we've done cuticle work and all of that, we buffed it, and now it's time to apply our base coat. So we would go ahead and apply our base gel. Then we would come back and apply an overlay. Now you can apply your overlay application, so your soft builder gel that you're going to be using to structure the nail. Now you can structure the nail with a gel base, especially if you're using soft premium gel like we do in this channel. Japanese gel nail brands like Vetro, Cocoas, and Leaf Gel. You can do it just with your base gel. But if your client has longer nails like so, I would definitely recommend that you come in with your soft gel builder and reinforce that nail. Otherwise, this nail will tear if it only is overlaid with a base gel. Now, if you're structuring your gel manicure with a soft builder gel, do not worry about structuring your gel base application. Simply go ahead and apply that gel base, just a generous thin layer all over the nail, and then cure and come back with this soft gel builder. Your soft gel builder is what you're going to use to strengthen, to structure this long natural nail here, okay? Second mistake we make is putting our apex way up here, right? So we add all of the volume of that gel way back there. So I'm going to apply a thin self-leveling layer on the entire nail here. So we grab a big dollop. Big mistake is to kind of just apply it up here and then just kind of let it chill there, right? And that's kind of it. If you look at this nail here, it's thin over here, which is nice, but now it's super thick and it almost feels like this nail needs to be reversed. Like this area needs to be on the cuticle area and this area needs to be over here. Now, do you need a thick application at the base of the nail? Somewhat. Not like this though. You do need a little bit so that it doesn't kind of like peel or kind of come off if it flexes during like your day-to-day stuff, you can lift over there if this area at the cuticle area is too thin. But you don't want to leave it hanging there, even if it self-levels, because you do need some strength also in your free edge. The whole idea of soft potted gel builders or premium soft gels is that they're nice and thin and they look natural. They will never look super thick because that's just not their formulation. Alrighty, the third mistake we make when placing an apex is to actually leave the free edge way too thick or thicker and really no gel in the back of the cuticle area. Now that is important because you do need some thickness at the cuticle area because you don't want that gel to lift there with the, everyday natural flexing of the nails. Say you're reaching for something, you're grabbing something, not that you're using your nails as tools, but if it flexes here, it's like lifting on this side. So what this mistake will look like is something like this. So you'll grab a little thin amount of gel to self-level. And then you're going to grab a bigger dollop to self-level this. And so then you may leave a thick free edge if you apply your gel. Okay, and then you just kind of let it sit there. So now we've got a situation here where your free edge is left too thick. You see that? That is not pretty at all. And so how do you fix it? So how is the correct way, Paola, to apply my soft gel builder so that I don't make these mistakes? Okay, you have to remember the characteristics of soft builder gel. Soft builder gel from our premium brands, Vetro, Leaf Gel, and Cocoa, as I'm talking, because these are like the ones that I'm familiar with. They are somewhat runny, somewhere around the viscosity of a medium viscosity, not hard like a sculpting gel, even though you use it for sculpting, and not thin like a really thin watery base either. So they lie somewhere in the middle, and believe it or not, that's perfect. That's what gives you those natural nail overlays while staying structured and having nice volume to them, okay? So here's how you will take care of ensuring that your builder gel stays structured just where you want it to. So I'm going to apply a slip layer, making sure that this lip layer is everywhere I want it to be. Imagine if you were applying it just in one whole piece. It's nice and even. Everything is nice and straight. If I would peel this off, it would be like one nice sticker and in the form of this nail. Okay. So yes, you can start at the cuticle area, but your gel is not going to stay there. So just touch this cuticle area, bring it down, kind of start working that U pattern, right? U all the way down. All the way down, and then kind of stop right there. Touch the free edge, bring your string up, get rid of the excess, and then comb it through. Make sure it goes wherever you want it to go. And personally, I always rely on gravity to do the work for me. So I'm always going to turn my client's hand upside down. And then I'm just going to correct any imperfection before curing. And then if it's perfect, it should be a nice solid line down the center. And there it is. Here's another way you can apply your builder gel so that you don't have pooling either at the cuticle area, the free edge, or both. Remember, soft potted gel formula is not a sculpting or a sculptor gel where it's super thick in viscosity. It's a little bit runny, just a little bit. I mean, I could still in the salon apply even all 5 fingers and allow it to self-level without it actually flooding into the cuticle area. If it floods into the cuticle area, you're applying way too much there. And when you applied your slip layer, maybe you touch the skin. Anytime you touch the skin, that gel is going to run into the skin. So you have to clear that application with alcohol. So grab your lint-free towelette, wipe it down, and reapply. Okay, so the second way to apply your soft builder gel for a structured application so that has a nice apex is to apply like a thick layer of this soft builder gel. You could leave it like this. Again, it may last on the client, like it's kind of like how we first apply it, but the best thing to do is to give it an apex to really strengthen this application. So all you would do with this type of gel, you're going to drop it there like a millimeter or 2 away from the tip of the free edge and then just comb it back, and then boom, that's it. And this will give you the perfect self-leveling. It will take a little while. You can comb it a little bit if you want to. What I mean by combing is taking the tip of your brush and going in there without ruining the apex. And then do this on all of the fingers that you feel comfortable working with. So if you feel comfortable working with 2 fingers, do it on 2. If you feel comfortable working on 4 fingers, do it on 4, and so on and so forth. Again, I always rely on gravity to give me the proper placement. Strongly recommend with soft potted gel formulas. Otherwise, that gel is just going to fall flat because it does have some weight to it. Even though it's not like a thick sculptor gel, it still has some weight to it. And so it will just fall down and cause your nail to just be one thick, flat nail, which will last, but it won't necessarily be pretty. And then just any final combing. And that's that. You'll wait for there not to be any break in your reflection of the light there, and then you will cure it. If you would work on 4 fingers, it will self-level all very fast, very nicely. Right now we're just waiting on 1 nail to self-level, so it does take a little bit of time, but it gets there. You see, it's nice and beautiful. It's nice and thin especially. But you know, you just saw me add a whole bunch of gel, so you know that the gel, no matter that it has already dispersed, you know that it's there. All right, time to cure. All right, and to know that you've done an amazing job, I always recommend you use a nice, beautiful red color. You can be even more critical on yourself and use a white color, but we're not gonna do that tonight. And because remember, we applied a thick, wet layer, we know that the entire perimeter of the nail is thick and balanced. And all we did was come in with a drop of gel, a thicker drop of gel, a bead of gel, and allow that to self-level where it matters. And a second coat, looking beautiful. And here's the deal, believe it or not, your top coat shines the most if there is no breakage in the light. If there is breakage in the light, so if there's bumpiness and imperfections in your structured overlay application, then your top coat is not going to shine at its fullest. When you have a nice, beautiful light of reflection like so, your top coat is gonna do what it's supposed to do and shine bright like a diamond. And here's our final product. Notice how thin it is, but again, you know that we put a whole bunch of gel in there, so it's self-leveled, but it's just the nature of how this product material cures, just cures thinly and allows us to still use a lot of gel to reinforce the nail. All right, let me know your thoughts. Isn't soft potted gel amazing? Make sure to check out our brand new masterclass down in the description box below. We'll see you on the next. Bye for now.